LiSTNR production.
Hey, Bension Siebert here with the briefing. It's Super Tuesday in the US, which means one thing: another opportunity for Australians to gloat about how much better our election system is. Obviously, elections should be on a Saturday. Anyway, the way Americans choose their president is weird and complicated, so we're here to break it down for you. Right now, we're in the primaries part of the election. This is where Republican and Democratic voters across the US vote for their party's nominee to contest the presidential election. That's not until November. Super Tuesday is called Super Tuesday because it just so happens to be when a shitload of these voters in 15 states and one territory cast their primary ballots. So this usually knocks off everyone but the frontrunner for each party. But this Super Tuesday is unlike any other we've seen in recent years. And here to talk us through it, we've got Chaz Licciardello from Planet America. Chaz, thanks for joining us on the briefing. For those who don't know, what is Super Tuesday and why should we care about it?
Well, of all the years, this might not be the year you should care about it, I'm afraid. But spoiler, today Super Tuesday is a little bit more like a kind of all right Tuesday. What essentially Super Tuesday is meant to be the biggest day in the whole primary calendar in America. So when they go state by state choosing who the nominees are going to be, people vote. So Democrats vote for the Democrat, the Republicans vote for the Republican. And on Super Tuesday, about a third of the states in America all go on the same day. So you go a long way towards becoming the nominee on Super Tuesday. Up to now, even though we've been talking about the primaries now for months, seemingly years, but really months, they actually only have a couple of hundred delegates to show for their efforts the last few months. When I say delegates, I mean you need to win about 2,000 delegates to be the nominee. Mm-hmm. You win delegates in each state. And there's only, like Trump's got about 250 delegates, for instance, at the moment. So he's only a tenth of the way there. After today, he's going to be probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the way there. So it's a big day as far as the primaries go, just because there's so many states. And that's why you should care. Today's the day that they choose the nominee, essentially.
Right, but it's not a Super Tuesday.
No, it's not a Super Tuesday this year because we already know it's going to be Trump. We already know it's going to be Biden.
Yeah.
They've been winning everything. Biden won his last contest he won 97% of the vote in his last contest.
That's a lot.
There's not much... Yes, there's not much secrecy about who's going to be the nominee for each party.
Can you just tell us what happens physically, what it looks like when people all go and do this vote?
Sure. Well, look, some states have what they call primaries, which are just straight elections. Some states have caucuses, which is where they just mill around in like a school for a few hours and argue with each other, and then they have like an election. It's a weird thing, a caucus. I don't know why they do that. But essentially, a caucus is like a primary, except you waste 3 hours before you have the primary. And also often you actually vote in the open as well, so you can bully each other, which also doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, I'm not a big fan of the caucuses, but most of them are primaries. So they're essentially just like little elections in each state, and they're happening all at once. And if you tune in to an American news channel or on YouTube at about, let's say, midday today, 1 p.m. today, you'll see all the results coming in all at the same time.
So why are we so sure that it's going to be Trump? Tell us what's happening with Nikki Haley, his former UN ambassador.
Yeah. Look, there's a few reasons why Nikki Haley ain't going to get there. In fact, even today, in all the general election polling, she does way better than Trump does. Trump is kind of kicking Biden's butt at the moment. He's ahead by 5.6 points in most polls at the moment. But Nikki Haley's ahead by 10 points. Nikki Haley is miles ahead of Biden. If she became the Republican nominee, you might as well just end the election campaign right now. She'd be so far ahead. But the reason she's so far ahead is because she really appeals to Democrats and to independents. She doesn't appeal to Republicans, and that's
Which
a problem.
is a bit of a weird thing for a Republican to do, unfortunately.
Exactly. When you're in a Republican primary trying to convince Republicans to vote for you, that's not a great thing. So the answer to your question, why am I so sure Trump is going to be a nominee, is because in the polls, he's ahead by 50 to 60 points in every single state today. So that's he's pretty far ahead. So we're expecting pretty big things from Trump. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nikki Haley, she did wonderfully to win Washington, D.C., the Washington, D.C. primary the other day. She won, I think it was something like 600 votes. That's how many people turned up. It was a huge primary. God. Huge.
Nikki.
In the real states, she's not doing so well.
Yeah, but she keeps on kicking, doesn't she? It's been quite clear for quite some time that she really has very little chance, if not zero chance, of getting the nomination. Why do you think she's sticking around still? Look,
this is a really good question. It's something that a lot of people have been debating because, yeah, as you say, 0% chance. That's been clear for a long time. Well, the first thing I'd say is that she's got a lot of money. She's had a lot of investment from a lot of people in her campaign. She hasn't used it yet, all the money. So what else has she got to do? She's not like she's got a job. So I mean, it's kind of fun, be on the campaign trail. So maybe she's just having a good time. But in terms of some kind of strategy, something she might be going for, aiming towards, well, I'll tell you this much. She's not helping her cause in 2028. If people think that her pushing up against Trump, getting more and more critical, I might add, as time goes on, sounding more and more like a Democrat when she criticizes him, is going to help her in 2028, it's not. Because even if Trump loses now, the Republicans are going to blame her because they're going to say, oh, she undermined him during the primaries, acting like a Democrat. So she's not helping herself in the long term. My guess is that she's decided that the Trump people are never going to support her. They carry a grudge, the Trump people. They're never going to support her no matter what happens. In 4 years, in 8 years, in 20 years, they're never going to support her. So her only chance of ever being the nominee is if Trump is disqualified because he has one too many hamburgers, maybe has a heart attack. If somehow one of these trials that he's down for actually happens and he ends up going to jail or something, she figures I think that's her only chance. So she might as well stay in it, win as many delegates as she possibly can. So if the worst happens to Trump in 3 or 4 months' time, she can go, well, I've got 400 delegates. Choose me. I think she thinks that's her only chance.
Okay, so after this is done, it seems like a bit of a fait accompli. We know that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are very much likely to be the nominees. What happens now? Are we into basically the general election?
Yes, we are. Well, if I'm being specific, what happens now is within the next 2 months, with Democrats going, oh, should Joe Biden drop out? Oh, he's very old. Oh, I don't know. He's so old. Should he drop out? Should Michelle Obama jump in? Should Superman jump in? Shall we create a cyborg to jump in? They'll do that for a while, and then Joe Biden will be the nominee, and then we'll forget this period. And then, it's basically a general election campaign from here. Both sides are already arguing like it's a general election campaign. So they're running ads. They're both running ads against each other already.
God, it sounds like a big mess in the US right now. We've got two very old candidates who aren't particularly popular, and they're really the only selection that Americans have. Is that's exactly right.
I'll tell you the good news for Biden. There's only one set of good news, and that is he's now so old and has been so old for so long. He has entered the same realm that Trump is in, where Trump has been so crazy for so long that people now just bake it in. They just go, oh, yeah, Trump's crazy. When he says something crazy, they just go, oh, yeah, whatever, that's just Trump being Trump. Now, every time Joe Biden stumbles and falls or mumbles or says something that makes no sense, people go, oh, yeah, that's Joe Biden. He's old. We all know he's old. Yeah, he's old. And so it's kind of stopped becoming shocking. So that is the advantage for him. He's so old, it's almost not become an issue. There was a poll just the other day from the New York Times where they showed 73% of voters thought that he is too old to effectively be the president, right? That might sound like bad news, but 61% of the people who are voting for him said he was too old to effectively be the president. So we've got to the point now where just everyone goes, oh, he's too old, but hey, that's him. That's our choice. So I guess we'll just have to, if we don't want Trump, it's got to be him. that's where we're at the moment. It's stopped being shocking. So that is the advantage for him, sadly.
Wonderful. Well, Chaz, thanks so much for joining us again on The Briefing.
No problems, anytime.
Chaz Licciardello there. That's it for The Briefing today. Check your feed again from 6 a.m. tomorrow when Sasha and the team will be back for your morning briefing. In the meantime, we're always keen to hear your feedback and stories you'd like to hear us cover. Search The Briefing Podcast on Instagram, hit follow and send us a little DM with your thoughts. I'm Bension Siebert. Thanks for listening.